Hi, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to August. We're getting started on our backs this morning, so come on into a comfortable place with or without blocks. I've finally managed to get myself 2 blocks after how many months of doing online Zoom yoga, and a strap, by the way. So if anyone doesn't have and think you might want it for your home practice, they're readily available on many, as I'm sure you can imagine, many websites. But Amazon can probably get it to you in a day. So if you like the heart opening aspect of this, you can take 1 block under your back and another one underneath your head to support the neck. And then just let your shoulders start to get heavy toward the mat. Let your arms rest away from your body a little bit. Try not to have them like super close. They don't have to be really spread wide. You could actually even take them overhead and just give yourself a nice little stretch to start. Take an inhale and then exhale and let them come back down a little bit closer to your sides. And let your face soften, let your eyelids get heavy. If there's any discomfort at all in the lower back with your legs extended, you can try bending them. Place the soles of the feet flat, and that should reduce that a little bit. You can also bring the soles of the feet together in a Supta Baddha Konasana, and that might give you a nice hip opener as well as heart opener. So play around and see what feels good to you this morning. And when you get into that place, take a nice deep breath in and out. And then try to let the body soften and settle, the physical body just arriving here in your space. And just starting to watch the breath coming in and out. Filling up the lungs, filling up the belly, sending that breath all the way through to your fingertips and toes. Stop, check in with your head and just stop for a moment and watch what's going on. See what kind of thoughts are floating in there this morning. And just recognize them, acknowledge them, and then come back to the breath and see if the next inhale can fill that space a little bit more. Just starting to push the thoughts aside, settle them down. We'll come back to them in an hour or so when we're done. Really trying to just focus on clearing, finding some stillness. Take about 3 or 4 more rounds of breath here. And then if you do have blocks or anything else under your back, let's start bending your legs and just gently roll yourself to one side and then remove the blocks from underneath and come on back to your back. Hug the knees into your chest, give a nice tight squeeze. Take your knees side to side and find the left to right corners of your back. And then if you want, maybe take some circles. Bringing the knees in and then sending them away just a little bit. Just moving this at your own pace, noticing how your body feels this morning. You might want to stop in one place and just kind of take a few breaths there if you feel an area that feels a little tighter this morning. And then go ahead and take the knees in the opposite direction. Again, keeping your shoulders heavy here, your face soft. And then go ahead and rock yourself forward and back over the length of the spine. Just nice and slowly, a few times. Come all the way up, stretch the legs out long. Sit up really tall through the spine. Take an inhale, and then exhale. Start to take your body forward into your fold, but you probably aren't going to get very far before you feel your hamstrings start to resist. So I get to about here when I start to feel them. I'm going to bring my hands down and just pause here and flex through my feet, flex my heels, point the toes back toward my face, and just sit up nice and tall for another breath or two. Just starting to bring some awareness to the backs of the legs. Take another breath in, and then go ahead and release that. Bend the knees into the chest and come on back down to your back. This time sending the feet straight up to the sky. Flexing the heels, toes pointing back toward your face. Inhale the arms overhead and lengthen out through the spine. And then exhale and send the fingertips straight up toward your toes. See if you can bring your whole lower body a little closer toward your chest. Maybe your fingers and toes almost touch. Maybe they don't come close to touching. It doesn't matter. Maybe some of you are already interlacing your hands behind your legs. So wherever you are, just take your time. Keep flexing through the heels and keep lengthening through the backs of the legs. Try to keep the shoulders nice and heavy onto the mat. Just slowly bringing some breath and some awareness to those hamstrings. Where did my music go? Here.
I know. Well, we've tried everything, but I did get a phone.
It doesn't want to play.
So where are you, hands?
Take another breath, and maybe your hands are resting on your thighs, or maybe you are interlacing them behind your legs. Again, just starting to bring some awareness there. And then bend the knees, hug them in, and then stretch everything out long again. Fingertips in one direction, toes in the other. Inhale and lengthen. And then exhale, soften, bring your hands through to your heart center, and let's set our intention, dedication, or our focus for the class, for the day, for the week ahead, whatever serves you best this morning, whatever's going on in your life, in your world. And take another breath in. When you're ready, go ahead and release your hands. We're going to stay on our backs and continue to work on our hamstrings and hip opening. So if you have a strap is great. Now that I have one, I'm going to demonstrate with it. You can take that over the ball joint of the right foot. Either keep that left leg extended long with a gentle flex in the toes, or you can bend the knee, place the sole of the foot flat. And you can grab both straps in either hand. If you don't have a strap, you can interlace your hands behind the leg. And it can be anywhere from the thigh all the way up toward the ankle, depending on your flexibility. And again, you can play with this leg and determine where that is most comfortable. So wherever you're at, try to keep your shoulders heavy. And then just start to breathe into the back of this right leg. The stronger you flex that heel, the more you'll feel the muscles being strained a little bit all the way down the calf, all the way through the heel. Toes pointing back toward your face. You can keep your face soft and your eyes heavy here and just breathing into that leg. Really trying to get your back heavy on the mat so that you're not lifted up and definitely not straining through the back of the neck at all. Keep your head heavy. And maybe you find those micro movements of the whole leg getting a little closer toward your body as the muscles start to soften. And this leg does not have to be entirely straight, by the way. You can bend it a little bit, and that might give you a little bit more flexibility while still lengthening through the back of that leg. So, we're all built differently, and everyone has different thresholds for where each muscle is willing to go. Let's take a few more breaths here. Take another inhale. And then we're going to take this right leg all the way out to the right. So if you have a strap, you can take both straps in the right hand. Left hand resting on that left hip to encourage it to stay grounded. And you can just open that leg to the right to your degree. Some of you might open it all the way. Some of you might take your toes a little closer toward the top of your mat. So really lengthening through the hamstring as well as the inner thigh. If you don't have a strap, this right hand can act as a kickstand anywhere to keep that leg elevated or opening to your degree, or you can always grab the big toes. Trying to keep this left side grounded, those left toes just gently flexed, shoulders heavy. Take another breath in. And then gently release. If you have the strap, release the strap, bend that right knee, bring it back and hug it into your chest, squeezing it nice and tight, maybe outside the rib cage. Starting to bring that blood flow and circulation and oxygen into that hip joint. And then go ahead and take that right knee all the way over to the left, coming into a spinal twist. Try to keep both shoulders grounded. So that right shoulder coming back down to the mat. And then you can bring your gaze and that right arm out to the right if that's comfortable. Sorry, my hair is getting in the way. If the spinal twist is a little bit too intense for you, first thing, try to just keep your gaze straight up and maybe send that right arm overhead. That might lessen the torque for you. Otherwise, if it feels okay, go ahead and bring everything over to the right. Take a few deep breaths here, letting your body settle. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here. With that second exhale, gently release. Come back through center, hug both knees into your chest. Do a nice squeeze, let the lower back stay heavy on the mat. And again, maybe just breathing in stillness or maybe just finding the different sides and edges of the back body. And go ahead and open your knees wide, come into a happy baby. Let the soles of the feet stay nice and flat. Grab the outer edges of the feet or the big toes with the peace fingers. And then soften the shoulders back down onto your mat. Let the knees drop to your degree. Let gravity just take them. And just open up, breathing into the hips. Again, either just in stillness or maybe you have a very gentle side to side rocking motion. Try to keep your tailbone grounded. So notice if you start to roll up, try to keep that tailbone grounded. And try to keep the shoulders and the back body and the head heavy. Eyelids can close here. We'll stay for another breath or 2. Just softening, settling into the hips. Stay there for 1 more breath. Sorry, if you're talking downstairs, you probably could too. I was trying to just close off the doors. Okay, bring the knees back together. Give them a nice tight squeeze. And then we'll take the opposite leg. So stretch the right leg out long, hug that left knee into your chest. Gentle flex of the toes toward the sky with the right foot. And maybe bring that knee outside the rib cage. Squeeze it in tight. Trying to breathe in. And then go ahead and send that leg straight up to the sky. Flex through the heel. Maybe you take your strap over the ball joint of that left foot. Shoulders heavy on the mat. Toes pointing back toward your face. This is very frustrating. Again, just softening the muscles in the face, the eyelids. Breathing. And just notice if you feel the muscles slowly starting to soften. You can move that whole leg a little closer to your body. When I say a little closer, it's something that no one probably could see, but you can feel it as you just gently, if you're holding onto a strap, a few of your hands interlaced, you just bringing a little bit more energy of that leg toward your body. It's probably not anything that you could visually see. We'll take another breath here, and then we'll take, if you have a strap, both straps in the left hand, open up that left leg all the way to the left to your degree. Maybe use that left hand like a kickstand here to keep it propped up, or maybe grab the big toe, and try to keep that right hand on the right hip to just keep it grounded. Take 2 more breaths here. Keeping the shoulders heavy. At the end of that second exhale, let's go ahead and bend that left leg. You can remove the strap or whatever else you had there, and then bring that left knee all the way over to the right, coming into your spinal twist. And if it's okay, bring your gaze and that left arm all the way to the left. And if that feels a little bit too much, you can keep your gaze straight up, or maybe send that left arm overhead, finding a little bit more length first and then softening into the twist. And take a few deep breaths here. And take another full deep breath. And then go ahead and release. Come back to center. Hug both knees in. Rocking a little bit side to side. And then go ahead and rock yourself forward and back over the length of the spine a few times until you come all the way up. So make sure everyone's still here. Come all the way up to a seat. Just cross over your ankles and knees and come onto all fours. And we'll take a few breaths through some cat-cows, some serpentines, any other movements this morning that help you wake up the spine in all directions. Breathing and just letting your breath guide the movements. So starting maybe with the cat-cows and then taking it anywhere else from there. A few more breaths here. Maybe wagging the tail side to side, just noticing where your body's holding on, sending your breath there. And take a few more breaths. And then we'll come back to our neutral table. And then send your hips back to your heels. Come back into a child's pose and bring your knees wide. So we'll take a few breaths here in a wide knee child's pose. You can use the width of your mat as a guide to start, and then decide from there if you want to go a little wider, a little narrower, or a lot wider, a lot narrower. It doesn't matter how wide you are, as long as you're feeling sensation through your hips. And you can settle into the pose to let the body soften. You can stack your fists and let your forehead rest, or your chin. You can turn one cheek. You can grab a block and use that as a support too. So wherever your body can find some ease. You take a few deep breaths here, just letting the hips start to open up. While you're in this place of calm, notice what is going on in the head, and notice if the thoughts start to pick back up. See if you can come back to the breath. Focus on that. Focus on that, and let that bring a little more stillness, a little bit more serenity to the front of the head this morning. Let's take about 5 more breaths here. Take another full inhale. And then with that exhale, start to make your way out of your pose so you can bring your forearms in front, start to lift your hips. Start to walk your knees back toward one another, and then slowly just make your way all the way down to your belly. So stretching the legs out behind, letting the belly come down, letting the tops of the thighs and the tops of the feet stay square. And then bring your forearms underneath, coming into your Sphinx pose. So elbows right underneath your shoulders, forearms and fingers spread straight forward, fingers spread wide. And then gently press down through the forearms as you lift the belly button and lift the heart. Bring the gaze just off the front edge of the mat, soften the shoulders down your back. And just take a few breaths here, really feeling the front of the body lengthen out, the lower body soft. And take another 2 breaths. And gently release, come all the way down. Bring your arms out to the side and roll onto that right side, keeping that right palm all the way flat, opening up through the shoulder. And you can keep the feet stacked here. If you want to add a little more, you can bend that left knee. Otherwise, just keep the feet stacked to one another. And just breathe into that shoulder. Maybe a little bit of a twist through the spine as well. And take another 2 breaths here. And then gently release, come back through center, come back into your Sphinx, bring your elbows back underneath your shoulders, and then gently ground down again through the elbows, lift the belly, lift the heart, soften down through the shoulders, and just feel the front, especially through the sternum and the breastbone area starting to expand. And take another inhale. And then as you exhale, gently release down, and we'll take our shoulder opener on the left. So left arm comes all the way straight out, palm nice and flat, and then just rolling open to your degree. Pausing when you feel it start to resist and the muscles get a little more taut. You can always bring a block under your head too that might feel comfortable, or a pillow if you have a rolled up piece of clothing nearby. Again, if you want a little bit more open, you can bend that right knee. Breathing fully. Take another inhale. And then gently release, come back through center. This time bring your hands by your heart and we'll press into a low cobra. So starting by pressing the feet, the tops of the feet, engage the legs, and then just gently press the hands as you bring the shoulders onto your back. Lift from the heart center. And just feel the back body working to lift you here. Maybe you start to push yourself a little higher. Take another inhale, and then very gently bring it all the way back to your child's pose. Hips heavy to your heels, this time knees closed. Fingertips extended, tented fingertips to start as you come into your extended child's pose. Rounding through the spine. And you either stay there for another breath or you can walk your hands back by your heels. And just notice how the lower back feels. And bring some gentle massage to it. And then come back through your table. Let's bring the right foot forward. And then inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Bring them together through to your heart center. Take a twist to the right. So see if you can really find the twist first. And you can stay right here, right in your upright prayer. Feeling the twist through the center of the body, through the spine, and really leading with that right shoulder coming, the rib cage. And so decide if you want to stay here for a few more breaths, or if you want to take that left elbow, drop it over the right knee, and come a little deeper into the twist. Trying to stay nice and long through the spine. And grounding through that right foot. Pressing the palms into one another. Take 3 more breaths, whichever variation you're in. And one more inhale. And then as you exhale, release from the twist. Send the arms straight back up. Lift from your heart center and inhale. And then exhale, release the hands to either side of that front foot. And we'll come into our low lunge. So you will heel toe that front foot forward a little bit so that you can start to come into the lunge. And then again, decide if you want to start up high with the hands maybe resting on that knee. Maybe you take your blocks the high way and start there as well. Or maybe you're starting a little lower this morning. But wherever it is, make sure that your body is easing into it. So take your time. Softening, letting that left hip flexor gently release down, grounding into that right heel to guide that right hip back just a little bit. I don't know if you can see the difference when I just let my body drop in and when I ground to that right heel, it brings a little bit more lift to it. A little bit more muscle energy is required to keep that hip from dropping too far in too fast. Over stretching the tendons, ligaments. Take another breath in, and then we'll slowly start to send the hips back, flex the toes to the sky. And just move your nose in the direction of your knee or shin. And to try to lengthen through the back of that hamstring a little bit more. Another 2 breaths here. And let's bring a little movement with our breath. Inhale, bring it forward. Lift the heart, lift the gaze, and then exhale, send it back. Flex the heel, point the toes toward the sky. And following your breath, inhaling forward, exhaling, send the hips back. A few more times in each direction. And the next time you come forward, pause there. And then we're going to tuck the back toes and lift that back knee and come into a pyramid. So stepping the back foot in. So you have a shorter lunge. Maybe you heel toe that right foot a little closer to the right edge of the mat. So just readjust your feet so that your stance is comfortable. Both heels are grounded. Your feet are hips width. And then with or without your blocks, either coming to lengthen through the spine, either coming high to blocks or maybe high to fingertips. Guiding that right hip back just a little bit. Lengthen through the crown and then exhale, release into your fold, dropping the crown of the head. And breathing even deeper into that right leg. And take another breath in. And then exhale, step that back foot back, coming back into your lunge. So either staying, you can still be on your blocks here. Just this time with the back knee lifted. So staying strong through that back leg. Keep grounding through the right heel. And then let's ground the other edge of that back foot with the right hand on the earth or maybe a block and send the left fingertips to the sky. And just open up into that easy twist. Grounding the right heel, guiding that right hip a little deeper. And take another breath in. And then release. Let's step that right foot back and just come into a nice, easy downward facing dog. It can be a little shorter than your normal dog, or it can be your regular length. Maybe just walking it out, grounding through the palms, the fingertips, gripping the mat, and just notice how in this pose, the backs of the legs feel. As you walk it out, really lengthen through the heel on each side. And take another full breath here. And then we'll take the left foot, step it forward, drop the back knee. We'll come into our twist on the left. So you can start, let's inhale the arms high. Bring the palms together through heart center and then twisting to the left. And maybe just taking a few breaths, staying really tall through the spine, staying upright, really feeling that twist. And then maybe come in to the deeper version, the right elbow over left knee, palms pressing into one another, still lengthening through the spine, out through the crown of the head. Breathing fully, grounding through that left heel, letting your gaze settle. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, release and come back to center. Send the arms high, lift through the heart. And then exhale, release the hands. We'll come into our low lunge on the left. So maybe walking the toes forward a little bit as you start to come into your lunge. Again, maybe you start up high, or maybe you come high on your blocks or fingertips to start as you let your body soften on this side, easing in. Grounding through that left heel, guiding the left hip back just a little. Take another 2 breaths here. With that second exhale, slowly start to send the hips back, flex the toes to the sky. Starting to breathe into the back of that left leg, hamstring. Maybe feel it all the way down through the calf, depending how strongly that left heel is flexed. Take another 2 breaths here. And inhale and hinge forward, grounding through that left heel still, lifting the heart, lifting the gaze, inhaling. And then as you exhale, send the hip back, flexing the foot. And just moving nice and easily with your breath. You might be on a different pace than I am. So don't worry about what I'm doing or saying. Just follow along with your body. Let's take one more time in each direction. The next time you come forward, pause there. And we're going to bend tuck the toes and lift the back knee and step that back foot in, coming into your pyramid. So grounding both feet, maybe coming to fingertips or to your blocks, lengthening through the spine, guiding that left hip back. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, release the crown of the head into your fold. Gaze toward the back of the mat and the crown of the head toward the earth, softening, grounding into both heels. Take another full breath. And I will step those right toes back, coming back into lifted low lunge, but you can always bring the knee down here as well. But if it's lifted, keep that quadriceps strong, keep grounding through the left heel to guide that hip back, squaring them. Just softening and lengthening. Another breath or 2. And then we'll turn the outer edge of that back foot down, and maybe with the hand on the block or flat on the earth, so the right fingertips high, and twist open. Twisting from the rib cage, the heart. Take another breath in, and then exhale, release it down. Step the blocks aside and step that left foot back to meet the right in your downward facing dog. And again, just noticing here, if you feel a little bit more equal, a little more evened out on both sides. Just take another full deep breath. And then let's come down back to our table. I'm going to turn to face you. We'll come into our gate pose, opening through the side body a little bit. So let's start with the right foot out to the right. The outer edge of that foot is parallel to your mat. If you're facing the other way, then it's still parallel just to the longer side of your mat. And then send the left fingertips high. Inhale and lengthen through that left side of the body, and then exhale, just take it easy over to the right. Make sure that right hand isn't resting right on your knee joint. a little bit above, a little bit below, or you could even take it behind you if you wanted at a half bind. But really focus on lifting the rib cage up and over. Keep the rib cage and the heart shining forward, so make sure you're not looking down toward that leg. Take another inhale. Stay for the exhale. And then come on back up to center with your next inhale. Bring that left hand all the way down and send the right fingertips up and over, lengthening through the right side body. Still keeping the heart shining forward. And take another breath in. And then let's take this into a modified wild thing. Take that right foot to the back off your mat a little bit, and then just open up your heart to the sky to your degree. Take another breath in, and then exhale, release. Bring that right hand down and just kind of pivot back around to your table. And just come through cat-cow, inhaling and reversing that. Another time or two in each direction with your breath. And then we'll come back up. We'll take the other side, bring the left foot out, left leg out, and the outer edge of that left foot parallel to the side of the mat. And then the left hand somewhere on either probably starting on the top of the leg. Inhale the right fingertips high and lengthen. And then as you exhale, just take it over to the left. And again, that maybe the left fingertips walk down your leg a little bit, making sure they don't stop right on the joint. Or maybe they come behind. And to your next inhale, come on back up. And we'll bring that right hand all the way down. Left fingertips come up and then over. And just lengthening through the left side again. Another breath here. And then we'll take the left foot and just kind of slide it to the back off your mat a little bit so that you can open up through the heart, turning it toward the sky. And bringing those left fingertips out to the left a little bit. Take another inhale. And then exhale, release. Bring everything back around to your table. And again, just coming back through cat-cow. A few breaths in each direction. And then tuck the toes and lift the hips. Come back into your downward dog. Take a full breath. And then walk your hands and feet together, coming into a rag doll. Grab opposite elbows. Drop the crown of the head. And take a few breaths here. You can give yourself a little sway side to side. Grounding through the feet, noticing where the weight's distributed. If it falls back towards your heels, or if it tends to be toward the front of your feet, and just see if you can even it out a little bit. And release your hands and interlace them on the lower back. Staying in the fold, come into your shoulder opener. If that doesn't work for your hands and you have a strap or something nearby, you can grab that in both hands and let that just open up for you a little bit wider. Either way. Take another 2 breaths here. And then gently release. If you have a strap, you can just set it aside. And then open up your toes wide. So depending how wide your feet are, You want your heels about hips width and open up your toes and then drop down into your Melasana squat. You can use a block here as well underneath your hips as a little support. Bring the hands together at the heart center. Stay nice and tall through the spine. And you can let the eyelids get heavy or just let the gaze settle out in front of you. And just softening down, taking a few deep breaths. If this does not work for your body, for your knees, you can drop down and instead come into a bound angle, a Baddha Konasana. See if that maybe is a little bit more easeful. Otherwise, stay with us here in the squat. We're going to add a little twist. So we're going to start by turning to the left and dropping that right shoulder as much as you can, sort of inside that knee. And bring the right hand down to the earth. Send the left fingertips high. Really trying to twist open. You can take that left hand into a half bind. And if you want, maybe try to add the right hand as well. Bring it around that front leg with the palm facing toward the back of the room. And then as you bend that elbow, reach back for the left fingertips. Again, a strap here could help make that connection. So whether you're in the twist or you're in your original place here or you're in bound angle, just take a few more deep breaths. And one more inhale. And then gently release, come back to center. Send the arms high. And then bring them through heart center and start to turn to the right. Drop that left shoulder down inside, sort of inside that knee a little bit. And then you can bring the left hand down. Send the right fingertips high as you start to twist open. And either keeping the fingertips or maybe bring them to your back body in a half bind. Maybe try adding the full bind. Left hand comes out around. Bends around, finding those fingertips or not, just reaching in the direction for them. Take one more inhale. Wherever you are, release. Send the arms high again as you inhale. And then exhale, just gently let everything come down to the earth. Stretch the legs out long, give them a nice shake. And then we're gonna come down to our back. So let's do it with a little bit of core. So come into your boat pose first. Start with the toes, eye level and the arms in. And let's take an inhale and lift the heart. And then exhale, slowly open. Inhale, come on back up. And we'll just take a few rounds of breath. Moving, body opening. Inhale as you come high. Exhale as you open. I've kind of lost track of where we're counting, but we'll do 3 more. 2, 1. Hug the knees into the chest. Maybe drop the feet and just round through the spine. Take an inhale. And exhale. And then come back into your boat. And this time we'll bring it all the way down. Opening up to your starting point where your core is engaged. And then lowering for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. If you're still with me, 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring everything down. Take a nice deep breath in. And a long breath out. Stretch the legs out long. Stretch the arms overhead. What time is it? All right, we'll get a few more minutes. Let's come into a bridge pose. So bend the knees. Feet are parallel and about hip distance. Walk them in so you can just feel the backs of the heels. And then as you inhale, imprint the lower back. So really feel it grounding. Feel the lower back imprinting on the mat. And then as you exhale, ground through the heels. Engage through the quadriceps as you lift your hips and walk the shoulder blades toward one another. And breathe here for 8. You can let your eyes close or just let your gaze settle, maybe toward the ceiling, maybe toward the front of where the wall and the ceiling meet, if there's a intersection like that in your view. 3 more breaths. Keep engaging through the quads, grounding through the feet. Take 1 more inhale, and then slowly start to walk the shoulder blades apart as you lower down from your neck, 1 vertebrae at a time, all the way down to your tail. And then bring the soles of the feet together, come into a Supta Baddha Konasana. Let your arms either rest by your sides or the tops of your thighs, or your heart and your belly, wherever is comfortable for your body. Let the face soften, take a few deep breaths. Take another deep full breath here. And then just guiding the knees back toward one another, hug them into your chest. Maybe this time lift your shoulders and make a nice little ball, really rounding. And then go ahead and bring the shoulders back down. And we'll come into an inversion, so your choice, legs up or with a block or with a support or shoulder stand or any of those near the wall. If you want to bring your mat a little closer, if you have a wall nearby. About 10 breaths in some version of a pose that will reverse the blood flow from your lower body to your upper. So if you're in legs up or shoulder stand, if you're in shoulder stand, keeping your hands under your lower back for support. And legs up and Vipariti, just letting your upper body soften onto the mat, softening your face and your breath in either position. Let's take another breath here, and then if you're in shoulder stand, slowly start to make your way through to plow. If you're in legs up, you can also come into plow if you want, bringing the feet overhead. Otherwise, just come out of your shoulder stand, out of your legs up, and bringing your knees into your chest. And shoulder stand, coming through plow, slowly make your way out, and then everyone just hug your knees into your chest and drop your knees to the right. Take 3 deep breaths in your spinal twist. You can bring your gaze and that left arm out to the left. Another inhale and exhale. And then gently come back through center and switch sides. Bring your knees over to the left, your gaze to the right. And bringing everything back to center. Give your knees one last hug in. You can stay here for as long as is comfortable before you extend and come into your Shavasana. Extending everything long. Heels to the corners of your mats, arms a little bit away from your body. Palms facing up, a sign of openness, or down for introspection, depending how you're feeling this morning. When you get yourself settled, take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And with that exhale, letting it soften your whole physical body, getting a little heavier. Soften the muscles on the face and the jaw. Relax the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Coming back into your breath, noticing any of the thoughts start picking up again. And coming back into your breath. Start to bring some awareness back to your physical body and to your breath. Deepening your inhale, lengthening your exhale. And then with your next breath in, lengthen the arms overhead, stretch them out long. And exhale, hug everything in. Squeeze the knees into the chest. And then just drop everything to one side. Take another deep breath. And gently make your way back up to a comfortable seat. And bring the hands together at the heart center. And just take the next breath or two to bring back to the front of your mind your intention, focus, dedication. Let's honor those thoughts by bringing our hands to our crown, to our hearts, to our throats, honoring our words, and our hearts, honoring our souls and those of each other, and the light that shines in each one of us. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you, guys.